Imagine yourself decades from now, looking back over your life. What would it feel like to know you lived fully, without regret? Or imagine a different feeling, a haunting sense of missed opportunities, of paths you didn't take. Today, we're uncovering some of the biggest mistakes people make as they grow older and how to avoid them. The Stoics believed in living with purpose and peace, guiding us to avoid these traps before it's too late. If you're a beginner looking to learn about Stoicism, download our free ebook, Stoic Wisdom, Timeless Reflections for Modern Life. It's a collection of the most powerful Stoic quotes, each paired with thoughtful reflections to help you apply these timeless teachings to your everyday life. And to dive even deeper, unlock life-changing wisdom from the Stoics with our recommended books in the description. These timeless texts will help you build resilience, find calm, and lead a balanced life. By using our links, you support us in bringing more transformative content your way. Let's dive into ancient wisdom from the Stoics, wisdom that can help ensure you don't reach old age feeling weighed down by regrets. The cost of living without intention. The Stoics teach us that life is a precious gift, and every day is an opportunity to live with intention. But too often, we drift through life as if someday we'll take care of everything. This is the first major mistake, living without purpose. Imagine a woman named Lisa. In her 20s, Lisa had dreams of traveling the world, of writing, of exploring. But life kept getting in the way, work, bills, routines. Lisa always said, "One day I'll do it." Decades passed, and one day became never. She reached old age looking back, not at adventures or dreams realized, but at missed chances. Or consider someone who worked hard, pushing everything else aside to get ahead. They reached success, but missed so much in the process. Friends, family, those precious moments of being truly present. The Stoics understood this well. They saw the danger of living only for future goals and losing sight of today. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." The Stoics urge us to live today. This doesn't mean we avoid planning, but it means we stop waiting for some magical future. Life is now, in the choices we make each day. Are you living for someday, or are you finding meaning in today? Take a moment to reflect on this. Don't let another day slip by without truly living. Neglecting physical health. The Stoics believed in treating the body with respect, understanding that physical health is fundamental to living a full and intentional life. Yet, as we age, many people fall into the trap of neglecting their physical well-being, viewing it as something secondary or optional. But without health, how can we hope to experience life fully? Consider Tom, a man who was dedicated to his career, sacrificing sleep, exercise, and a balanced lifestyle to climb the corporate ladder. Years passed, and by the time he reached his late 50s, Tom's body had paid the price. His energy was drained, simple activities were exhausting, and he realized too late that all his achievements felt hollow without the strength to enjoy them. Or imagine Maria, who believed that health was a young person's concern. She neglected regular checkups and dismissed minor health issues, brushing them off as part of aging. But eventually, those small issues grew, impacting her daily life and limiting her freedom. Epictetus taught, "Body and mind are closely linked. Neglect the body, and the mind will suffer." Stoic philosophy emphasizes discipline, which extends to caring for our physical self. Maintaining health isn't vanity. It's an act of wisdom and respect for the life we've been given. Think about it. By prioritizing your health today, you're investing in your ability to live fully tomorrow. It's easy to put off exercise, ignore the importance of sleep, or skip a nutritious meal. But every small choice you make either builds up or tears down your health over time. Take a step back and ask yourself, are you treating your body as an afterthought, or as the incredible tool it is to experience life? Health is more than just the absence of disease. It's about vitality, energy, and the ability to do what you love without physical limitations. Attaching happiness to externals. How often do we say, I'll be happy when I get that promotion, that new car, that dream house? But the Stoics warn us, tying happiness to external things is a dangerous trap. Take John, who worked tirelessly, thinking that his next big purchase or promotion would finally bring him happiness. He accumulated wealth, bought everything he thought would make him happy, but each time the joy faded quickly. As the years passed, he found himself emptier than ever, chained by a habit of seeking fulfillment in things outside himself. Or think of someone who believed that love or approval from others would bring peace. They spent years chasing validation, bending over backward for others, only to find that the peace they sought was always out of reach. Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." And Seneca added, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." True contentment doesn't come from what we own. It comes from realizing that inner peace is found in simplicity and self-contentment. Ask yourself, what things are you tying your happiness to? Are they truly in your control, or are they fleeting? The Stoics teach us to cultivate gratitude for what we already have. Ignoring mental health. Stoic philosophy reminds us that true strength is found within. Yet, in our fast-paced world, mental health is often overlooked. Many people, especially as they age, ignore their mental well-being, viewing emotions and inner struggles as weaknesses to hide rather than as challenges to understand and address. But neglecting mental health can lead to a lifetime of unresolved pain and unfulfilled potential. Take Robert, a man who believed that dealing with stress or anxiety was a sign of weakness. He pushed through every challenge, bottling up his emotions and suppressing every feeling of vulnerability. Decades later, Robert found himself battling depression, realizing that his years of neglect had compounded, making it difficult to find joy or peace in the life he'd built. Then there's Clara, who always focused on taking care of others, but rarely prioritized her own well-being. She was the pillar of her family, but she never addressed her own needs, dismissing her feelings as unimportant. As she grew older, Clara realized she felt empty, having spent a lifetime caring for everyone except herself. Seneca wrote, "The mind is our place of retreat. We must care for it daily." The Stoics understood that tending to our mental well-being is not selfish, it's essential. Building resilience, practicing gratitude, and finding calm are all ways to cultivate a strong mind. It's easy to brush off feelings of stress, loneliness, or sadness as just part of life. But ignoring your mental health leaves you with an unbalanced foundation. Your mind shapes how you see the world. When you nurture it, you're equipping yourself to handle life's challenges with clarity and resilience. Ask yourself, are you allowing yourself time to reflect, to rest, to simply be? Mental health isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Investing in your mental well-being means cultivating a life where peace and strength coexist, regardless of external circumstances. Holding on to past resentments. Imagine carrying a weight, one you've held onto for years. Past grudges, regrets, and unresolved anger. Many people reach old age burdened by the past, weighed down by resentments they couldn't let go of. Consider Mary. She held onto a grudge for years over an old friend's betrayal, replaying it in her mind and letting it color her future relationships. Decades later, she realized that while her friend had moved on, she had spent years haunted by a wound that had never healed. Or think about a family member who clings to old conflicts, replaying them until they overshadow every new experience. The anger they carried shaped them, not into who they wanted to be, but into someone who couldn't let go. Seneca warns us, anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it. Holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to suffer. The Stoics teach that peace comes from releasing what no longer serves us. Reflect on this. Are you holding on to past grudges or anger? The Stoics remind us that letting go is an act of strength, one that leads to lasting peace. Fearing change and staying comfortable. Many people, as they grow older, cling to what's familiar, fearing change and sticking to the comforts of routine. But here's the hidden danger. The more you resist change, the more you risk a life that feels smaller and smaller. Imagine a man who always said, "I'm set in my ways." He feared new ideas, new experiences, even new people. Years passed, and his world became smaller. He found himself increasingly isolated, not because of age, but because he had refused to grow. The Stoics saw change as a natural part of life. Epictetus taught that it is not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about those things. To grow, we must embrace life's changes and adapt to each new chapter with courage. What changes are you resisting? What's holding you back? Remember, the Stoics urge us to adapt and grow, for true strength lies in flexibility. Lack of financial planning. Financial security is an often overlooked foundation of peace in life. The Stoics valued simplicity and prudence, knowing that preparation for the future provides stability. Yet many people, even as they age, fail to consider the long-term effects of poor financial planning, finding themselves in a vulnerable position later in life. Consider James, who spent his younger years spending freely, confident that he would always have time to save later. But as he approached retirement age, he found himself with little savings and mounting financial stress. His lack of preparation meant he was now dependent on others, a reality he hadn't foreseen but deeply regretted. Or think of Eleanor, who lived paycheck to paycheck, never budgeting or saving. When unexpected medical expenses arose, she realized too late that she lacked the resources to cover them. Financial stress became her constant companion, a burden she never anticipated but had to carry as she aged. Epictetus advised, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Financial planning isn't about accumulating wealth, but creating a life where we are free from the anxiety of financial uncertainty. Financial planning is not about restriction, it's about freedom. By setting aside resources today, you're building a cushion that allows you to face life without the constant worry of what if. Money can't buy happiness, but a secure financial foundation removes unnecessary stress, allowing you to focus on what truly matters. Think of financial planning as a gift you give to your future self. Ask yourself, are you living in a way that secures both today's joy and tomorrow's peace? Avoiding deep connections. Too often, people avoid vulnerability, keeping their emotions and thoughts guarded. Yet, as we grow older, those missed connections become a source of regret, a life lacking true connection. Think of someone who kept relationships at arm's length, prioritizing work or avoiding deep conversations. Over time, they found themselves surrounded by acquaintances, but lacking genuine friends. They realized too late that the bonds they needed most were the ones they avoided. Marcus Aurelius said, "We are all woven together for a reason." The Stoics valued self-sufficiency, but also saw the importance of genuine connections. True fulfillment comes not from independence alone, but from meaningful connections we create. Ask yourself, are you investing in the relationships that matter? The Stoics remind us that the bonds we create enrich our lives and leave a legacy of love. Seeking validation from others. The Stoics warned that relying on the opinions of others for our sense of worth is a dangerous path. Living to please everyone else can lead us to lose sight of who we truly are. Yet so many people reach old age and find they spent years living someone else's idea of success. Consider a man named Mark. In his 30s, he was driven by the need to impress, working long hours, buying things he didn't need, all to gain admiration. But as time went on, Mark began to feel empty. Each achievement felt hollow, and he realized he didn't even know who he was beyond the image he'd crafted for others. Or imagine Sarah, who shaped her entire life around family expectations. She studied what her parents wanted, took jobs to please them, and rarely considered what she wanted. As she grew older, she found herself unfulfilled, longing to know her own path, but feeling it was too late. Epictetus once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." True fulfillment lies in living by our own values, not in seeking the approval of others. Ask yourself, are you living for the applause, or are you living for your own growth? Take a moment to reflect on where your sense of worth really comes from. Stop learning and growing. The Stoics believed that life is a continuous journey of growth and learning, regardless of age. Yet many people fall into the trap of thinking that once they've reached a certain point in life, their learning is complete. This is one of the greatest errors, halting personal development out of complacency or fear of change. Imagine Stephen, a successful businessman who, after retirement, felt he had done all he needed to do in life. He stopped challenging himself, stopped seeking new knowledge, and his days became monotonous. Years later, Stephen felt a sense of restlessness, realizing that he had allowed his mind to become stagnant. Then there's Linda, who had a vibrant love for art and literature in her youth. But as she aged, she neglected her passions, feeling they were no longer important. In time, Linda lost touch with the joy of learning, feeling less connected to the person she once was. Marcus Aurelius, even as an emperor, constantly sought knowledge, famously writing, "It is in the nature of the wise to be constantly learning." The Stoics saw growth as a lifelong pursuit. No one is ever truly complete. Learning is a gateway to staying connected with life, regardless of age. When we continue to grow, we're not just expanding our knowledge, we're nourishing our minds and spirits. Growth keeps us vibrant and adaptable, ready to meet new challenges with curiosity rather than fear. Whether it's a new hobby, a skill, or a deeper understanding of yourself, ask yourself, are you still feeding your mind and spirit with new experiences? Remember, a life of growth is a life of fulfillment, even in the smallest of lessons. Worrying excessively about the future. We're taught to prepare for the future, to save and plan. But the Stoics warn that an excessive focus on the future can rob us of the present. This is a common mistake, living in a state of constant worry about what might come without ever experiencing what is. Imagine Anne, who spent her entire life worrying about financial security. She never took time off, never relaxed, and every decision was made with the thought of, what if? Decades passed, and Sarah found herself with savings but no memories. Her life an endless loop of worry that kept her from ever truly enjoying a moment. Or think of James, who obsessed over every decision, constantly fearing he'd make a mistake. He avoided risks, missed opportunities, and ended up looking back on a life he never fully lived. Marcus Aurelius advised, never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same reason which now arms you against the present. The Stoics encourage us to prepare wisely, but live fully in the present. Ask yourself, are your thoughts about the future keeping you from the joys of today? Comparing yourself to others. It's all too easy to compare our lives to others, especially in a world that constantly showcases the success of others. But the Stoics believed that comparison is the thief of peace. In old age, many people look back and see that their lives were spent trying to keep up, rather than being truly content. Think of Alex, who, from a young age, measured himself against his peers. He constantly felt inadequate, chasing the next achievement to prove himself. But even as he succeeded, it was never enough. Each success only led him to compare himself more, leaving him exhausted and unsatisfied. Or picture Linda, who spent her life focused on others' lives instead of her own. When she reached old age, she realized she'd barely lived for herself. Her achievements felt empty, as they had always been a reflection of others' goals, not her own. Seneca wisely stated, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." The Stoics remind us that contentment is found within, not through comparison. Reflect. Are you measuring your life by your own growth or by the achievements of others? Remember, fulfillment comes from within, not from outdoing someone else. Neglecting diet and proper nutrition. Our bodies are temples, and the Stoics believed in treating them with respect and care. Yet, in the rush of life, many people fall into poor dietary habits, neglecting nutrition and consuming what's convenient rather than what's nourishing. This error often reveals itself with age, as years of neglect take a toll on health. Take Michael, who enjoyed fast food and sugary drinks in his youth. He never thought much about his diet, believing he'd feel the same forever. But as he grew older, Michael's health declined, with energy levels dropping and chronic issues emerging. He found himself regretting a lifetime of dietary neglect. Then there's Emma, who was always too busy to eat balanced meals, opting for quick fixes to keep up with her schedule. Years passed, and her body began to feel the effects. Her immune system weakened, and she noticed constant fatigue, all stemming from years of insufficient nutrition. Epictetus remarked, "If you don't take care of yourself, who will?" The Stoics remind us that caring for the body is an essential act of self-respect and discipline. The food you consume fuels everything you do. Neglecting nutrition may seem insignificant in the moment, but over time, it impacts your energy, your strength, and your overall resilience. Diet isn't about perfection. It's about balance and respect for the body that carries you through life. Ask yourself, are you feeding your body what it needs to thrive? Nourishing your body is an act of gratitude, giving you the vitality to pursue everything you cherish. Neglecting self-reflection. The Stoics valued self-reflection as the cornerstone of growth. Without it, we repeat our mistakes, miss chances to evolve, and end up leading a life that lacks purpose. Yet so many people go through life without stopping to truly know themselves. Imagine Peter, a man who never took a moment to reflect. He lived in autopilot, following routines, avoiding self-examination. As he grew older, Peter realized he had no understanding of who he really was, nor did he know what brought him joy. His years were a blur of habits, not choices. Then there's Carla, who avoided looking inward because she feared what she'd find. She distracted herself, always busy, never allowing herself a moment of reflection. But with age, Carla found herself feeling lost, unable to define what mattered most to her. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Look well into yourself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if you will always look." The Stoics believed that a life without self-examination is a life unfulfilled. Ask yourself, do you know what truly drives you, what fulfills you? Take time for reflection, for in it lies your strength and your purpose. Avoiding responsibility. Taking responsibility is essential to leading a purposeful life, but many people avoid it, blaming others or circumstances, and in the end, miss out on the growth and fulfillment responsibility brings. The Stoics saw ownership of our actions as a sign of wisdom. Consider Sam, who spent his life pointing fingers. Every setback was someone else's fault, every opportunity missed because of others. As he grew older, he felt a nagging sense of emptiness, realizing he had avoided the hard but necessary path of self-responsibility. Or think about Laura, who always chose the easier path, avoiding roles and decisions that required accountability. She aged into a person who felt passive in her own life, missing the sense of empowerment that comes from facing challenges head-on. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." The Stoics remind us that responsibility is the path to true freedom and purpose. Reflect on this. Are you taking responsibility for your choices, or are you passing them off? Embrace accountability. It's the cornerstone of a meaningful life. Failing to cultivate patience. In a fast-paced world, patience is often undervalued. But the Stoics believed that patience is key to enduring life's challenges with grace and wisdom. Many people reach old age and find they missed valuable experiences simply because they were always rushing, rarely taking time to be present. Imagine Rachel, who spent her life in a hurry, rushing through tasks, conversations, and even relationships. By the time she grew older, she realized she hadn't savored a single moment. Her life was a series of check marks, each one leading to the next without ever stopping to appreciate. Or think of Ben, who found himself frustrated over every small inconvenience. As he aged, he saw how his impatience had isolated him, making him less resilient and less content. Seneca tells us, how does it help to make misfortunes heavier by complaining about them? The Stoics teach us that patience isn't just waiting, it's enduring with a calm mind. Are you rushing through life, or are you taking time to experience it fully? Remember, patience is not about waiting longer, but about enduring with grace and finding peace in the present. As we look back on these 17 errors, it's clear that each one, in its own way, is a path that leads away from a life well lived. The Stoics believed that wisdom is not simply a collection of ideas, but a way of being, an approach to life that guides us toward fulfillment, resilience, and inner peace. Each error is a reminder of the places we might falter, but more importantly, each one presents an opportunity to live more consciously, with intention and purpose. Imagine reaching the later years of life, not with regret, but with a deep sense of gratitude and satisfaction. A life where health, both physical and mental, has been nurtured, where relationships have been cherished, growth embraced, and every moment savored, where financial stability brings peace, and where your mind, filled with curiosity, remains vibrant and open. This is the life the Stoics guide us toward, a life not free of challenges, but rich with meaning. But this journey doesn't begin someday. It begins now, in the choices we make today. Will you treat your body as the vessel of your experiences? Will you nurture your mind and protect your peace? Will you continue to learn, adapt, and embrace life's changes with courage? The choice to live with intention, to avoid these common pitfalls, is a commitment we make every day. So, take a moment to reflect. What steps can you take today to honor your health, your growth, and your peace? How can you cultivate a life where each day builds on the last, creating a legacy of purpose and fulfillment? The Stoics remind us that the best way to ensure a meaningful old age is to live wisely now, with attention to the small choices that, over time, shape our lives. As you go forward, carry these lessons with you, not as restrictions, but as keys to a life rich with resilience, connection, and joy. Let this be the beginning of a path to a life without regret, where every step is guided by the wisdom of the Stoics and the knowledge that true strength lies within. Don't wait until later in life to realize what truly matters. Embrace Stoic wisdom now to live with peace, purpose, and clarity. If you're ready to dive deeper, subscribe for more insights on how to make Stoicism part of your everyday life, and check out the playlist linked here. Continue your transformation today. Remember, stay strong, stay positive, and stay true to yourself.